Trevor asks, are the ideas of white fragility and white privilege useful in understanding and addressing racism? And why or why not? So, Coleman, do you want to start that
off? Sure. I don't think I'm not sure I could be friends with someone who actually took white fragility as a recipe for how to live. Luckily, I don't know anyone like that. But what she says in the book is essentially for if say you and I are having a conversation, you're white, I'm black. There are totally normal human conversational moves and feelings that you're not supposed to avail yourself of, or else you fall into the sin of committing, white fragility. You can't remain silent. You can't argue back. This is if we're talking about race. You can't express your opinion. You can't express your disagreement, no matter how understanding. The mere fact that I'm black and you're white means you have to accept what I'm saying. You have to admit that you're racist as a starting point. And anything less than that admission is just, on this view, by definition, denialism. So it's a very again, like I have intimate friendships with white people, and I don't think any of them could operate under such a rubric. It's a very strange way to show you respect me as a black person, to say you'll never disagree with anything I say. In fact, what you're treating me like implicitly is like, I don't know, a petulant child who can't be pushed back against because my feelings, because I'm so unreachable by reason that you have to be the adult in the room, and I have to be the child. So that I don't see how that points a path forward at all.
I suppose you could say that there's some value in asking people to put themselves in the other person's shoes. So if you're an organization that's mostly white and there are relatively few people of color in it, it's not unreasonable to ask, if you're a white person in that organization, that you imagine yourself to be this other guy. Imagine yourself to be the odd person out, the only woman on the team, or the only black in the department, or something like that. How do you think it feels? How do you think it feels if people look at you and they impute to you certain views or expectations or whatever, just based upon the fact of the way you look? How do you think it feels to be, in that position? What people have in mind when they talk about privilege. Be aware of the fact that whiteness actually matters in certain circumstances, and that people who are not white in those circumstances may have to bear certain burdens or meet certain challenges. I mean, I can go that far. Of course, you could also ask the person to imagine what it's like to be the white person in that circumstance. For example, to imagine being a cop confronted with a recalcitrant citizen who might be dangerous and armed, and you're white, and you have to deal with that situation, and you might be afraid, and you might do whatever you do. I could ask a person to imagine and put themselves in that. So in that situation, so in a way, that's just a kind of human empathy, and you can ask it of people depending on the circumstance, whether they be white or non-white. And so far, I'm willing to go. But I think there's something really important in what Coleman just said, which is that often this emphasis on, white silence equals violence. This idea of check your privilege presumes a certain kind of black fragility. It's kind of predicated upon the idea that black people have to be treated with kid gloves in all situations. Otherwise, offense is given to them. Discomfort is imposed upon them. They are made not to feel welcome. What's the new term of art? Inclusion and belonging. Inclusion and belonging. We have to make sure that people feel that they belong. And this infantilization of Black people on the supposition that the least off word said, the smallest gesture might be, somehow threatening to their very sense of well-being, is, I think, what's at the root of a lot of this emphasis on white privilege and so on.